Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back. Scotty the Trucker coming to you from where the heck am I? I am a little bit west of Philadelphia. Yeah, it's been a while. I guess I'm going to make my plea to my audience out there. I need help. As you've seen, my videos have kind of gone down as far as frequency. And I think what it is that I'm running out of things to talk about, to be quite honest. Just the way things go, you know, when you do one of these Prime Inc. YouTube channels, it's super exciting in the beginning. You know, you've got all this training stuff, you know, you're going through, everything's brand spanking new, you're wide-eyed, you're meeting other YouTubers and, you know, learning everything new, learning how to drive this big monster, you know, it's filled with, you know, nerves and anxiety and drama and all that. And then you move on to, you know, your solo career, which, at least for me and most people I talk to, is, you know, challenging, to say the least, in the first few months. You know, my deal was that I was still not so great at backing when I came out. That's putting it mildly. You know, had to kind of teach myself a lot. I had the fundamentals, but you know, I needed a lot of work coming out into my solo career, and those first couple months were rough. You know, when you're not super comfortable backing. So there's drama. You get yourself into little, you know, pickles and things like that, and there's plenty to talk about in those first, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. You know, because you're new, you're making mistakes, and that produces drama, which produces better YouTube videos. Now, I'm not saying I don't hit problems. You know, and I'll even mention a few things on this one. You know, little pickles that, you know, came along, but they're few and far between now. You know, I'm entering my 11th month solo, I think, and I'm at a stress level, all-time low stress level, low anxiety, and you know, learning every day. I'm at the point where I avoid a lot of the mistakes that got me into trouble early on. You know, not entirely, like I said, you know, even on this last trip I had some challenges, but the actual drama of my life has gone way down. So I'm kind of losing, I'm having trouble thinking of interesting topics to say. I'm not super big on, you know, just telling you what I'm doing, where I'm going. I do breeze through that in each video. Went here, went there. Personally, that's not really all that interesting to me, you know, unless something happened, which, you know, that'll be this video as well. But anyway, yeah, in the comments this time, if there's any topic that you want me to run through, I've got 2 in the hopper here that I'm thinking about. I need to do a CPAP video, and I was thinking about contingency planning. You know, what can you bring on this truck, you know, to when you're out and it's not so easy to get always to a Walmart or a place. You know, what can you bring to avoid, you know, unforeseen problems? You know, I've over the time, little items that have, you know, I didn't even think about before, have become must-haves now. So I think I might do that. And I have not forgotten about my you know, the series that I do still plan on finishing. I just decided I wanted to wait until I got a full year. I'm coming up on a full year in July. I'll even be up on this lease will be done, and I'll get a new truck, hopefully one with less electronic problems. I need to say that quietly. I don't want brass tacks to hear me. I'm also heading for home, and the last 2 times on the way home has been breakdown. I don't want that to happen. I'm almost 1 state away. Tonight I'll be 1 state away from home, and then I'll be on home time. After I think it's been 2.5 months again. That's unfortunately become kind of my norm. You know, it's I think with the slowdown, it takes a little extra time to build up, you know, to get something going. This past time, half the time out of here, I was in the hole. For those of you that don't know, and then we'll jump on that, that doesn't mean I was broke. You know, my account was still, you know, close to where it should be. In the hole just means when you stop the truck, Prime starts paying for everything, and then when you start the truck up, it comes out of your payroll. You know, before, you know, it pays itself off through your payroll. It doesn't pull things from your business account. So that's what in the hole means. So anyway, yeah, I'll just run through quickly. You know, like I said, it's been a while. I think I was about to head into Gainesville last time we spoke. From Gainesville, I went north to Savannah, from Savannah to Laredo. Laredo, never fun, although fairly uneventful this time. It's just too many trucks. I don't like the traffic patterns that Texas has. It's all those feeder roads with, just constant on and off ramps, on and off ramp, on and off ramp to these roads that run parallel. And that's nerve-wracking. And then you put in Laredo, it's 10 trucks to every one car, it seems. It's just locked up with trucks. That said, it actually was fairly uneventful, other than just the stress of driving around there. And somewhere in here I will put, I stayed at the Denver drop yard. I'm sorry, let me back up because I'm getting ahead of myself. Went from Savannah to Laredo, from Laredo to Louisiana, from Louisiana to Denver. Stayed at the Denver drop yard, which I've stayed at least once before, but I didn't notice. No, I did go to the Denver drop yard, but I did go to the Denver drop yard, but it is the Laredo drop yard that I'm thinking about right now. At the Laredo drop yard, I'd been there a couple times before, one time before. Didn't really pay much attention to it. It's adjoined by a cold storage place, but the Prime has its own little area, and I didn't really even pay attention to this, but Prime has kind of a mini terminal there that's really cool. It's made out of those, and I took some videos, so you're probably looking at it while I'm talking. It's those intermodal containers that are converted into, you put a door on the side, and this place, it's 8 containers, 2 by 2 stacked on top of each other, and then another wall, 2 by 2 stacked on top of each other, and then a metal roof going over between the two and sticking out the side where they do inspections there of your trailer. And this time I really kind of explored it, and it's kind of neat. It's no terminal, but it's got the bare basics, and it's kind of interesting that they converted these things into what they have. They have one container is offices, one container is bathrooms. They have laundry, they have showers, they have a lounge, and then outside they have like a little picnic area, and it's all blocked off and key card accessible. Pretty cool. Oh, excuse me. Like I said, I'll be showing that too. Also of note in Laredo, it's been a long time coming, but one of my very early, might have been in the first 50 subscribers that I had very early on, Adam the Red. He now and since has had a YouTube channel himself. He's 51 Logistics. Go check him out if you haven't seen him. He's an interesting take on things. He's not Prime per se. He was going to come to Prime, but it was right about the time that Prime was putting a freeze on hiring, so he didn't want to wait, and he went to the Wilson Logistics side, which pulls Prime freight, and from everything I see, basically has the same system of training and TNT and all that. And he's gone through that, and he's a trainer for Wilson. He actually got, as I recall, I think we started like our YouTube adventures and our thoughts of coming out trucking, we started about the same time. I hit a bunch of delays, and he was rolling at Wilson, so he kind of got a jump on me. He started a little bit earlier than I did, and like I said, he's an established trainer now. But I got to meet him. We have chatted on the phone, and we text quite a bit, and he's the only driver that I've done this with. I think I've sent an invite to a couple other YouTubers that I didn't get a response. I don't know what to read into that, but basically we follow each other on Google Maps. I can expand my Google map on my phone, and I can see where in the country he is, and he can see where I am. We were hoping that we would cross paths at some point, and we've had so many little near misses, and there was even one time where I was within 30 miles of him. I was passing, he was at a shipper, I think in I think it was Texas, maybe Colorado, but I passed within 30 miles of him, but he was at a shipper. and I couldn't stop and he couldn't leave, so missed him there. But he was heading straight for me. I was at the Laredo drop yard, and he was heading towards me. And I honestly, we almost were going to miss, because I had a pickup. I had to go get a load coming up right about the time that he was going to be showing up. The thing was with this one, it had a window. I usually, if there's a window and it does and it makes sense, I like to get it right at the beginning, if not early, before the window. But there was a window of time that I could pick this load up, so I waited. I had just enough time for him to roll into Laredo. We had a very brief but very very cool to meet him. It was a good quick conversation. We took a selfie, although I meant I thought it was a selfie, but I actually had it on video. But I was able to get one quick moment that looks like a picture, where we were kind of posing for the camera. But it was a very quick little video that I incorrectly did. But yeah, Adam, it was great meeting you. Those of you who don't know his channel, 51 Logistics, go check him out. Again, he'll give you the ins and outs of the Wilson logistics side of prime freight. All right, like I said, from Laredo it was to Louisiana, from Louisiana to Denver. I didn't stay the night in Denver, but I spent a little bit of time in the Denver drop yard. And from Denver came to this load, Philadelphia, I believe. I don't think I'm missing one. Philadelphia, it was one of those, it's the kind that I don't like. It's take a big city and your pickup or delivery is kind of right in the middle of the city. Those, and if for those drivers, experienced drivers out there, I have a question for you. Does that ever somehow get less nerve-wracking and just it's just fraught with danger? It's just, the turns are too tight, the traffic is ridiculous, nobody's looking out for you. It's constant turns where you have to wait for people to get out of their turn lane, or back up or move, because you need their lane to turn without taking out everything on the corner. And kind of like Laredo, it was ultimately uneventful. I hit two things on this one. This is the stuff I was talking about in the beginning, that even now, you still get into a pickle once in a while. When I was heading into this place, I took, I think it was either heading into the receiver or after, I don't remember. I took a turn onto what looked like a street. It didn't have anything that said no trucks. In fact, it was a road that had other shippers and receivers at, I could see it at, further down this road. So I was trying to, I think I was circling the block. I was trying to just do turns and come back from where I was parked. But I took this turn, and sure enough, there was two entrances to two different shippers and receivers, but they were both gated up, and this was a dead end, and not one with a big cul-de-sac, turn thing. Oh boy, it was as tight a U-turn as I have ever made. Took every bit of space, turned, and even I got to the, there's like there was a curb with grass and a fence post right in front of the truck, and I'm like 90 degrees, and I'm watching the plastic panels, which early on in my career I crunched one of those on a tight turn, but there was nothing to do for it. I was watching it, and I was like, oh, I got another inch or two. I even had to jackknife just a little bit more just to miss. I mean, if that fence, I had to go a little bit up on the curb just to have the room to do it. And if that fence post was 3 inches closer, I think I would have truly been stuck. Thankfully, got through it. That would have been an undoing moment early in my career. I probably would not have taken every available inch starting the turn that I did this time. I knew when I looked at it, this is going to be as tight as it gets. So take every inch as you make this turn. So that's a lesson there, that even messes like that, you get better at handling them. But this one, woohoo, I really thought this might be it. I might be calling someone pull me out of this this dead end. So, but made it. The other little eventful thing, what was it? Oh, after the load, like I said, I'm in, I don't know what you call downtown, but I was in inner city Philadelphia. I got my load, and I was just starting to head out, and I was heading, it was several of these little city turns, what a mess. And then I was about to get onto, it wasn't an interstate, but it was a state route that was like an interstate. It was a big road, one that has exits, not, turns everywhere. And wouldn't you know it, my ramp was closed. And that put me on quite an adventure. From that, I had to, it was a road that, doesn't, the ramp would take you onto there, but instead I had to go straight. And that took me down almost what I would call an alley. It was townhouses and cars on the right and on the left, and just enough space for the truck to get through. And my GPS kept wanting me to go back. It kept rerouting me back to this exit. And I don't have time to, there's no place to pull over, I just have to keep going. So, at that point, you're kind of just using your sense of direction. I needed to get far enough away from that exit, the closed exit, for my GPS to reroute in a different place, because it just kept wanting me to, take this right, take this right, take this right, and then hit that exit again. And I would have done a loop over and over again. So anyway, after several tiny little sharp turns, rough turns in this area, this was the roughest driving in Philadelphia I'd hit. It really was not meant for it was open to tractor trailers, but the turns were not conducive for making sharp turns or whatever. So after a few of those, I hit Broad Street, which was again, not an interstate, but it was a sizable road. And it was, and even at one point I hit an intersection, staring straight ahead was an overpass that was 13-1. And I'm like, oh shit, had to turn left. Thankfully I had a turn that was not gonna cause my day, my week, my year to be horrible. So I avoided that, but man, that could have been ugly. Anyway, let's see, where am I here? I got on this Broad Street, and the delivery was in northern Philadelphia. So just using sense of direction, I got northbound on Broad Street, and I figured, eventually you're going to get out of the city and then you can route to where you're going next. So that's what I did. I stayed on Broad Street long enough for this to recalculate and offer me an alternate route, hit the button, and it took me out, and eventually got me to where I am now. This is one of those oasis places. It's the state, I don't know what you call them, travel plazas, which I do like, as far as truck stops and rest areas, that kind of thing. And I had pre-picked this one before I left Philadelphia, because it was in the evening and it's close to a city, which means parking is going to be a pain in the ass. But this is the one in this stretch of them that has a giant parking lot. Most of them, honestly, I don't know why they did it this way, but most of the travel plazas right around Philadelphia have like eight spots, 9 spots, something like that, which are full day and night pretty much. On the way into Philadelphia, I stopped at 3 of them. It took me 3 stops at these things to find a parking space, and it was the one right before you get into Philadelphia. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be parked on the side of the road the night before. So anywho, got through that. But those of you that are seasoned truckers out there, do these, I've talked about them before. The inner city Chicago always has been, nothing terrible has happened, but it's like I said, there's overpasses that are too low. The turns are terrible. There's the potential for bad stuff to happen every single time, and that is still nerve-wracking. Heading into any major city where it's not something on the outer beltway, it's actually in town, so to speak. Does that ever get easy? I can't imagine that becoming easy, or a low anxiety situation. That's one of the few things still that I don't look forward to. When I get my load and it says, Philadelphia, even Laredo, but for different reasons. The Laredo, the turns aren't so bad. Laredo is just pure traffic nonsense with too many trucks. But Chicago is the same. My GPS always goes haywire because it's just too many streets, converging on each other. It reads, and if you're coming in, there's always road work, which throws the GPS off. If you're in the right-hand lane of road work, it often thinks you're in the city part to the right, and it keeps telling you, take, in 30 feet, take a right, and I'm on the interstate. You don't want to do that. All right, so what else? Hometime, I guess I'll talk a moment about Hometime. I'm looking forward to it again. I think I've been out 2.5 months. This time it didn't feel like it. I don't know if it was from my family perspective. My wife is, I think, saying that this has been kind of the hardest one, not just from, I guess, an emotional standpoint, but there's been a lot of things that have come up in life that she's had to deal with that I would have been there to help. Just more difficult in that sense. But I don't know if it was that that whole month that I was in the hole that I kind of erased from memory or something, but this one did not feel as long as other times that I've been out. Last time I was out 2 to 2.5 months, and that felt like an eternity. This one, it feels like I was just there. And I think I left home, I think it was maybe first week of March, second week of March, something like that. So it's been a while. But yeah, this one, I'm not going to spend much time at home. We're going to actually go on a family vacation. We're going to head to Disney World, but we're going to do Disney World a little differently. And I've mentioned a couple times, I grew up, I'm a Disney person, or at least I kind of used to be. Grew up real quick. It was kind of in my DNA. My dad was on a business trip in 1971, I think, was when Disney opened. He was in Orlando for a business trip, and I think he saw in a newspaper or something that Disney World was opening, and he didn't think much of it really. Disney World wasn't Disney World at that point. It was, he knew Disney, but he had a day off, and he's like, why not? Let's go check it out. So my dad was actually at Disney World, not the first day, but the first week, I believe, that Disney World opened. And he talks about it, that everything was the best he'd ever, witnessed or experienced. And we live right next to Busch Gardens, which is a pretty nice theme park. But he went and he said the popcorn was the best popcorn that he'd ever had. The bathrooms were incredibly clean. He talked about just sitting on a park bench there is just amazing. Everything was just perfect and wonderful. So from that point on, it's in our DNA. And I grew up, I went to Disney World and stayed in Disney World. We only stayed in resorts there. I don't know, maybe 5-6 times during, from birth to 18. And I know we went back I was freshman in college, I think, also. Went and just always loved Disney. Since then, Disney has become completely woke and expensive. I mean, and there was even early in my marriage and when my kids were young, there was a few years that were wonderful. My parents had and have for the time being the Disney Vacation Club kind of timeshare type thing. You get points and you can stay at the resorts. And at that time, they were actually also kind of your snowbird workers there. They actually, my parents had jobs there. They worked in Animal Kingdom, and if we went together, it was free tickets. So we had room for free and tickets for free. Now they were paying for this Disney Vacation Club, so I don't want to say that it was free for us, and that was really nice. But since then, they don't work there anymore, and it's even with the Vacation Club and getting the rooms, the tickets are ridiculously expensive. So anyway, long story short, they are thinking about, well, not thinking, they've decided they're going to sell off the Vacation Club thing, but they still had it now. So I asked them if we could one more time use it for just the room. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to Disney. We're going to stay at the Wilderness Lodge, which is kind of a family favorite, one of the places we like the most, and also has the lowest points for the fewest points, I should say, with the vacation club that they have. But we're just going to go and just enjoy the resorts. We're not going to go into the parks. Literally, a family of 4 to go, have 5 days of park passes. It's I don't know exactly, but it's right around $1,500 just to get in the parks. And everything, I'm not an expert on it, but I've heard here and there, everything is not quite as great at Disney. It's less spontaneous. When I was a kid, you'd be walking along. I remember this to this day. I was, I think, 12, and we're just walking in Disney World, and all of a sudden Chip and Dale, come running out of somewhere. I didn't see them coming. One grabs my hat, and they run around and do a game of keep away with me. It was spontaneous. I know of a film where my mother, before I was born, was at Disney World, and Captain Hook came out of nowhere and started dancing with her, right in the middle of everywhere. And little moments like that, spontaneous, that was what Disney magic meant. Little surprises here and there. But now, and for maybe the last 10-15 years, everything is less spontaneous. They have the Disney app that will tell you what characters are going to be where, and I have the app. Last time I was there, you needed it, because if you just wanted to happen upon one of them, you're going to be standing in line all day. So if you want a picture with a character, you use the app, and you're standing there where they're going to come out of the little door in the wall, at a certain time, and you can be first in line. But there's no spontaneity. The Fast Pass, I think they've either gotten rid of Fast Pass, or there's just a lot of rules. Yeah, and park hopper tickets, you can't. There's certain rules around how many parks you can go in one day, if you can. I don't remember, but there's a lot of rules that are just it's just not the experience. So that's what we're doing. We've decided we're going to go and just have a relaxing, for a change, Disney vacation, not the one where you feel like you've worn your legs off to the knees when you come home. Usually I've always loved Disney trips, but you need a vacation from your vacation when you're done. This one, we're just planning on swimming, swimming in the pool. There's lots of little things to do. We're probably going to rent a boat and just kind of go around the lake there for a couple hours. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Putt-putt. There's bike paths. There's you can rent a Surrey bike and go to downtown Disney and do some shopping, things like that. So different kind of Disney trip, but I'm very much looking forward to it. I like the fact that it's just going to be a low-key. I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. every day to be first in line to anything. So looking forward to that. So I'll bring some video back of that. All right, here we go. 28 minutes. That's a Scotty the Trucker norm. But yeah, if y'all can think of topics that you'd like me to talk about, please do. I did get a comment, and I think this may be the next. I don't want to. It will be an upcoming episode. It was not done in a trolly kind of way. It was a genuine question, although it was kind of your standard troll topic, I will say. This person was not, at least if he's a troll, it was a polite troll. But it was just a simple question. I think I had been talking about being in the hole and this pastime being difficult, and the question was something to the effect of why would you go lease when you have so little control over your business? Now I take that as that's a genuine, fair enough, that's a good question. So I think I'm going to dive into that in an upcoming episode, kind of give you the nitty-gritty on lease op at Prime, but I will give the quick version, very quick. I'm going to try the quick version of the answer to that. And this is coming from someone who has owned a business before with my family. I own Subway. In trucking, when I hear that you want more control over your business, all I hear is endless headaches. Even in Subway, it's not, control isn't the number one thing, in my opinion, that you want when you're running a difficult business or whatever. You want support, you want infrastructure, you want contacts, networking, established, customer base, things like that. You want assistance, and that's what you get with Prime. So no, if the kind of inference to that is that you should be your own authority, owner operator, that kind of thing, I have two kind of things to say about that. For one, I'm brand spanking new to this, and I came into trucking with very little extra, disposable income. I can't buy a truck today. I can't even now. I'm not ready, So what do you do when you're just stepping your toe into the water? You go to the place that pays for everything. Prime pays for almost everything in the training. You can get your foot in the door with almost no money down. And you get to the end of the training and you have a binary choice. You don't have, be your own authority. You're not at the top of the mountain at that point. You can go company, you can go lease. In my case, going company is fine, but it's almost exactly what I made in the job I left. So it simply didn't make sense to me. So lease is the way to go for me with Prime. And after a year of doing it, I will say that your first year as lease is probably going to have some struggle, but the name of the game, and I can see it, and I'm there for the most part, the name of the game is to get your business account up to the point where you can weather any unforeseen issue, breakdowns, things like that. And I had been twice almost to that point, and then I'd have a breakdown. The truck wouldn't leave me alone on mine. So, but lease with Prime, I know that there are predatory companies, leases, things like that are not good. I freely will admit that. But Prime lays it all out there. There has been zero surprises, and it is highly doable if you are at all disciplined. Absolutely, you will make money in lease if you are disciplined and get that account to where it needs to be, where a breakdown is just a blip, and I'm almost to that point. Like I said, I have had some setbacks, and the first year has been a little bit of struggle. If you're coming into lease and you have $5,000, $7,000 to put into that account day one, do it. That will make your life easier. But just in the ordinarily week to week, and everybody gets stuck on the money. I'm doing it. I'm doing my whole episode right now, so I'm going to pinch this off. The lease, but everything I hear on the ones that are trolls, they list, what's the, you're paying $1,500 a week. No, mine was my lease is $1,035, so scrape $400 off of that. Fuel, you're paying for all that fuel, no. If you're doing it right out here, Prime's got an excellent fuel program. You get several $100s on each load, fuel surcharge right off the bat. We have a huge network of truck stops that if you go in network, you get 99 cents off every gallon. And if you couple that with great miles per gallon, which by the way, I hit #1 in my fleet, I believe 2 weeks in a row. I got a picture here. #1 in the fleet as far as fuel economy. That was a first. I've been right on the outside of top 20 a few times, but that was cool. But anyway, you couple that with getting 9.6, 9.7 up to 10 even miles per gallon. That's where Prime drivers make their money. It's at the fuel tank. It's not it's not rushing everywhere and trying to get that phantom extra load here and there. It really isn't. We make or break our payroll at the fuel tank. If you're being mindful of that, you're going to make a lot of extra money. I haven't crunched all the numbers. They did it for me in Ace 2, and it's amazing. You do it right. That's where it's like the fuel tank is an ATM to some extent. So there, I did it. I always do that. I say, let's talk in an upcoming episode about this, and then I end up throwing it all up to you right now. All right, calling it, guys. This is over 30 minutes. Good grief. All right, I hope everybody's enjoying their Wednesday, I think it is. And I'll be probably talking to you next from home or on the way to Orlando or in Orlando, or if it's like me, it could be after all of that. So no promises. Hope everybody's doing well. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.